Hello everyone, BA Factor here,
And Game Girl.
here to bring you another 8-player free-for-all on the World Carnage. Let's take a look. Who we got?
We're playing Blur today. Satisfied Sloth, FP Slacker, GE Hactus, Corgi Army, and Killer Kiwi Juice.
Yes, I recognize several of these names. Killer Kiwi is a top 10 player in the Uber ladder. He's very, very good. Corgi Army and I, we trade wins and losses quite a bit. He's also a bit of a rival, and I'd like to secure as many wins against him as I can. And Blur, same thing. Blur and I have traded a few games here and there. Blur and I are a little bit more on streaks. So right now I happen to be on a streak on Blur. In the past, he's had streaks with me where he's taking me out again and again and again. I don't know anybody else, so we'll take a look at them a little bit later and see how they're doing. Now, I have landed in a pretty good spot. This is there's a lot of narrow passageways. Take a look here. We'll see that we got a mountain here and a mountain here, and then we got the water and 3 sides. So with this situation, narrow, 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 and there's a narrow one up there. I only have to worry about this one large area. So it's easy to fortify. Therefore, I'm going to tech early. And yeah, that's definitely going to be my plan. I scouted out, and I did see that Corgi is south of me, so that is something to be watchful for. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that, and I will fortify this area really, really well because I'm going to expect him. Like he's scouting me out right now. He's saying hi. He knows that I know that he is right there.
And with the terrain that you're talking about, players really can use that to their advantage if they know how to do it.
Absolutely. Everything, not only the mountains, but the trees, the dark trees versus the light trees, the water, everything can be used to your advantage, even these rock clumps and stuff. Well, let's take a look at what's going on. I see that white is attacking him a little bit. I'm very, very happy to see that. That means he will probably be warring with white, and I can go ahead and tech freely, but I definitely am still going to fortify. I will put up some walls here. Sometimes people fortify a little too much. It only takes about 1 turret here and 1 turret here to really fortify and cover 2 ranks. You still want to build an army. You don't need as big an army. You need fewer troops, and I'll just move those back and forth to help defend where they're needed on these narrow passes.
I often make the mistake of overdoing the turrets.
A lot of people do, especially early on when they're learning. They get a little nervous about being attacked, and they'll do 4 or 5 turrets. But that's a lot of money, a lot of metal and energy invested in one location. When fewer can definitely.
Here he comes.
Suffice. Yep, he is coming, and I do not recommend this. I do not recommend going up through a narrow pass. That is just not a good idea, for many, many, many reasons. And this one in particular, he should lose a lot of troops, and I should lose very, very few in this battle. He is retreating. That's good for him, and he can because of the trees. But in this situation, he's working against way too much stuff against him. 1, it's narrow. His units are going to bunch up. Okay. 2, he's got these trees to go through, and I do not. I have cleared mine out here, so I'm going to be able to have more firepower shooting at him than he can shoot at me. That works in my favor, and I have these walls, and I'm going to have a point defense here and a point defense here shooting at that direction. So I do not need half as many troops to hold this location as he is going to have to take it. When you're in a situation where you're looking at narrow passes that are easy to defend against, you do not want to hit head-on unless you have an absolute superior force.
And when you say they bunch up, they end up coming through the other side almost one by one, and you can just pick them off.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yep, I've started my tech. We're here at 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and jump forward just a little bit, and we'll see. A little low on energy there. I can't see that, but he's trying to make another pass here. I'm going to take a look at this. So, yeah, as she said, they're coming in a little bit at a time, and you can see that my surface area, he's got quite a few, so it looks like he might have teched. He's got a lot more ants than I do, but it does not take as much for me to defend, as you can see. They're just disintegrating. I'm losing a few units, but not nearly as many as he's using cost-wise, because I have losing a few doxes. And you know what? This pelter, I have seen people do this against me. I've rushed a base with the commander before, right early, and I have been taken out because of a single pelter. The pelter, if they locate your commander, can target it, and it'll continue to target and just whittle you down a little bit at a time the entire time you're in enemy territory. So one pelter can make a big difference. Let's see here, 1036.
Good time to look around, see what everyone's doing.
I think you're right. You know what? I'm going to just pause it
Yeah, I
because
was
there's
going
a
to
lot
say,
of
you might
action
want to
here.
pause it since we just see that right there.
Let's look at Corgi to start with.
Oh,
Now,
dear.
I checked early, so I have fewer factories and fewer units. Corgi has gone for max Tier 1 units. I'm guessing his plan is to overwhelm me early, take my base, and then work on a 2-base strategy. That's probably what he's planning to do. But as I said, these narrow passes, you can see I can move a little bit. He's got to go all the way back around, so it works to my advantage. Let's see. And it looks like White has been harassing him. I don't know why he hasn't been answering that. He's lost a building here and a couple mexes. Looks like Purple might be harassing him too. He may be just in a bind. He may be surrounded and in a bind. This map we've tried to make it as balanced as possible, but we played it enough to know that this position right here is surrounded for sure. And this position right here does have more defendable area. So that's Corgi. White and Purple are doing a little bit of battling, so that's going to help Corgi out a little bit there. And let's see, White and Kiwi. Looks like might do a little bit of battling. Kiwi went early tech as well. Look at that. Kiwi, I would classify as a engineer type style player, maybe even a strategist and an engineer mixed in one, because he is very good. I'm glad that I got him in this game. I like to study his build because I've watched him in PA stats and some of his games, and his stats are just phenomenal on his efficiency and how much his metal and power production in a game throughout against all the other players. So I'm going to be watching out for that. I did not know he was here in game. I do know it now, but I did not know it then. So it's something to be looking out for. We got down here. This is Blur. Blur is going semi-early tech. He's got a lot of units. Look, he's holding his ground a little bit and going to get some air tech, which is a pretty good tech to get because you can get Tier 2 mexes out really fast as long as you have air superiority. I don't see that he has a lot of air factories yet for that.
Looks like he's kind of by himself, and he hasn't had to go out and either defend or attack just yet. He's got a big wide open area right there.
You're right, he does. And he's preparing for this. Look at this. He is preparing for it. Kind of risky having your commander way out from your army, but okay. Purple has a pretty good amount of units. Pretty good structure. He's preparing with some storage, so he's probably going to be teching really soon. I'd say he's doing a pretty good job right now. Green, looks like we have a turtler in here. He's walled off 2 sides, built a lot more turrets than he needs. Got Tier 1 and Tier 2, and he's got some mines laid. I don't know. This is a little strange. I think I would lay the mines in a situation if I were going to lay mines. I think I'd lay them right here instead of on the sides, or lace them up here. If enemies coming in and they want to do an ender route, they might go this way, or they might go this way to come around back. So here might be a good location to trap somebody's docks harassment force.
It is, and mines are kind of hard to lay. They don't really lay geometrically. They plop a circle here and there when you do it.
Yes, they sort of lay in a circle, and I don't like that. I think that it'd be more efficient if you could lay them in squares or strips. I say that because if I want to, if I want to have mines in this location right here, that's all I want, and then I might want to go up here and lay some mines. But if I want to get the lines right here in this location, I've got to set it so that it does this, and sometimes it'll lay them in another pattern other than what I want. And this serves multiple purposes against me. 1, I might lay more mines cost-wise than I needed to defend a certain area. 2, I have more objects in the game to contend for, resources as far as the actual back-end server resources. And 3, strategically. I just like to have a better way to lay it. If they're laid in such a way it becomes a really haphazard base, and it makes it very difficult to lay down your structures and plan ahead what you're going to do.
I have a scout right there, I see.
You do, and you're scouting out. We'll take a look at that. And tell us about your new build.
I'm trying all land again. I believe I made 5 bombers right at the get-go just in case someone sent a bunch of docks or boom bots in.
Okay.
I don't think I made a single bomber after that, and I'm just trying to all land. It didn't go so well for me this game as it did another game, but I'm getting there.
Very good defensive force you have here. The Doxes can move around pretty easily. Snipers can shoot long range. If you see somebody coming, if you saw somebody come in with this force, it's fast enough to go out and meet it on the field and then retreat backwards as your snipers, your ghillie, are taking care of their units. So it's a very nice force to do a tech on.
And I have a pretty good amount of space. I've got I've got a radar up top, and I've got a radar in the lake over there.
Oh, nice use of terrain here.
I like that hole.
This nice little hold up here where you can get in and build. I have before put a couple Hulkins up there that are only accessible by air or dropping off. So that's,
and you've killed my Hulkins that I've had there as well.
I have, yeah.
And
Okay.
I've also got some sight on Kiwi down there in the lake.
Nice. He has defended that area very well. And you're way down here as well. You got the V Lake. Look at that. Blur didn't take that from you. I'm surprised. This is something that Game Girl used to not be very good at, and that was expanding blindly out into other areas. She's getting better at it, and her resources are certainly saving because of it. So here we go. While we were out around, I haven't started it, and we can see that Corgi did try to go around on me. Go ahead and we'll rewind just a little bit so we can see that coming in. So again, he has a stronger force. It's a nice little, he tried to flank me. Probably been better off flanking from the left side. I don't know, because the trees would have helped his cause out. If he would have came around the left-hand side with those boom bots, the trees, as my shoons are firing, they're hitting the trees, and his boom bots could make it further in. He might have even be able to hit my commander.
This commander's in.
Yeah, that's very all-in-ish right there. And you can see this pelter, what I'm talking about.
Risky.
Targeting his commander, it just continues to do so. And now I also have shellers in the back. Oh, Corgi.
Oh, poor Corgi.
Through a narrow pass. Through a narrow pass. Art of War, what do they say? Do not attack through a narrow pass. I'm going to keep a guard on that. And I'm going to be looking for another opponent right now. And I have to say...
it's not going to be going north.
Yeah, it's not going north. I'm not allowed to attack my wife, so I'm definitely not going this way. She's allowed to attack me, so you can see I do put something up there. I can't just blindly think that I'm not going to be hit by her. She often will flank me, so I have a radar and a little bit of defense. Oh, we have another player that has gone by. Let's take a look at who has taken that.
Pink.
Looks like Kiwi has taken out Geheditz, however you pronounce it. So now Kiwi has 2 bases. I have 2 bases. Purple is going to make a choice of which one he comes to. It looks like he's closer to Kiwi, so that's good for me. Blur is still expanding, and the turtle player is building some crop art.
Turtle arms.
Yes.
And a turtle head.
That's nice. Very nice. Okay, here we go. Now, let me explain what's happening here. Now, I know that Kiwi has taken this base. I have scouted it. And, I know that his main base is here. And I do like that I have this land right here where he has trees. I do like that. He has a little bit of land there, so I'm going to try to come in at an angle here. But I have 2 things working for me here. One, this is facile ground. This is ground that I can attack forward on with no fear of being able to retreat. I can retreat, which means when you're in a situation like that, go ahead and attack. But let's make it serve 2 purposes. I can go ahead and push forward and try to kill some of his units and then pull back. But meanwhile, down here, I'm sending in a raid on his resources. I do not want to let him get a hold on this base down here. I have my base, and as long as I can keep this base in contention between the 2 of us, then I'm doing well. Now, I can't really secure this base. It's too difficult for me to defend, but I can at least try to prevent him from getting it to cut his resources. And we'll take a look at what's going on here with resources while we're at it. We'll go ahead and do play here. Now,
I'm not doing too bad.
226, 247, Blur, wow, 437. His tech's really serving, and Killer Kiwi 472. He is dominating right now, him and Blur, and resources. I do have a pretty sizable force, though, he is going to have to contend with. And this base is definitely helping him out. So we'll see how this takes place. Shellers at work here. Probably could have done a little bit better job myself approaching. This Shellers, I have a few more Shellers than he does. As I said, I'm pulling back. So we'll see down here as that's happening. I don't want to lose my forces up there, but as that's happening, I'm pulling in to take his resources out. Just want to keep his army busy. And pulling back, he is coming into me, so it's taking the bait.
And he's having a little trouble with purple down there.
I did not see that at the time. Yep. That works out for my that works out in my advantage for sure, to be able to take this out and then have him have to contend with another player. He's getting 2v1 right now, and if anybody can handle 2v1, it certainly is going to be Kiwi. Let's switch it back. I want to see this perspective. Okay, so I see them moving in. I'm just trying to take out Kiwi's resources and move out of the way. He sees me, and he's decided to push me off. I guess Purple's entire plan, I suppose, was not really to attack Kiwi, but to take this base, just like I wanted to prevent him from having it, which is a good base for him to take. Since he started here, it's pretty close for him. I try to go through a gate and save as many units as I can. This is some expensive units. Unfortunately, I still lost a sheller, so I'm going to retreat. And this is vital that I hold a second base, so I'm going to have to answer that. Let's see what's going on down here. Are you moving out on an attack?
I am. I've been scouting.
Let's take a look at that. We'll pull it down here in just a second. Yep. This is T1 force, I think. Yep. Short work with that. No problem whatsoever there. And Kiwi's going to lick his wounds and rebuild a little bit. Looks like he's putting a counterattack on Purple. Okay, let's take a look down here.
I have already scouted. I scouted Blur, and I scouted Green. Green looked to be... I found his commander, I believe, earlier.
An easier attack?
He did, and that was a little bit closer for me for resources.
This is interesting. You can see his mines. Do you have a...
I had just run through a scout. I ran scouts through. And by scouts, I probably meant hummingbirds.
Doing pretty well. So, still, we had kind of addressed this in another game where you push through. In a situation like this, you could have sieged them a little bit longer, retained some of your troops, but you really didn't lose that many, and you took a player out and secured the resources. So, all in all, I'd say that was definitely a very good win there.
Yes.
And it's a good location for you to take. I would be worried about this. I don't know. You do see this.
I did. There was one over the green also, so I'm sure he saw me take green out.
Yep, I would certainly be concerned with Blur if I saw that he had a radar near my main base and a radar over the base I just took.
And I'm trying to use this terrain to my advantage right there in the center.
Yes, that's very good.
I'll be building something there in a little bit.
Yeah, so you have this and you're hiding in the middle of it. So if his units come in here, they've got to go around like this. So they'll give your scouts and your shellers some time to weaken them. So you'll be able to take a little bit bigger force than what you have there. Okay.
And getting that umbrella up just under his satellite.
Okay. And you have your 4 Tier 2 factories going, and let's see your economy now. So B factor 506. That attack on Kiwi, you can see, has wounded him down to 386. Push me up in the lead, Blur 500, and you're catching up now at 343. So.
And while we've been over here, it seems Purple has disappeared.
Now let's go take a look at that.
The huge force.
Yes. So, licking his wounds. Yeah. He just went and took a player out. And that was probably a good move on his part. My force was stronger than Purple's, and this prevents him from getting pressure on this base. Plus, he could expand to it, so he would now have 3 bases. Maybe his second base, his first base being the stronger ones, and then, an auxiliary base to get some extra resources on. But I would expect him to fortify this position really well, because I have to go all the way around this stuff to hold that second base. Now, while he was doing that, I was attacking him. This is a kind of an important attack. Now, I don't remember exactly why I pushed in, but I knew I took the resources. I felt like I had an edge. I do want to take him out. I went ahead and pushed in on him, and it's looking pretty promising. I mean, I think he even GG'd in the chat. Nice flank. Very nice flank. It didn't do as much damage as it probably could have gone a little bit further out, but it was a nice flank nevertheless, because he came across this area, came back behind his goal to take out my shellers to buy him some time. He ends up buying some time anyway. It does not take that many shellers to hold me off when he has this wall and this point defenses. So I'm having to slowly go in, and while that's happening, his reinforcements are coming up. So a little bit of an early GG. I think he held this very, very well, and we can see here that I'm not going to be able to hold that army off. So I'm going to have to retreat because I do see that coming in, and hopefully I don't lose all of my shellers. That's my game plan. But I'm going to go back home, and while I've been doing that, I have been replenishing the troops, per se. I have more factories now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Tier 2 factories. Tier 2 up here. A little bit of a force. I want to link these two together. Just north this up. He's scouting it out. Very smart.
I see you have a gate right there, and that's what I'm building in the middle of the terrain on my side. Trying to prepare for
Yes, I see that.
Blur. That was my plan,
Keep
anyways.
an eye on that. I want to see Blur coming in. Looks like Kiwi had recognized that I lost some troops, and he's going to move in on me. You don't normally want to fight at home, but I do have a nice edge in that I can replenish my fallen troops a little bit faster than he can. He's got a nicer force than me, but he's having to travel through this forest, and I'm trying to keep my shellers out of range of his shellers so I can kill his forces. And it's kind of what you want to do when somebody's coming in here. So, see, these units right here are going to be hitting my front line, and my long range are going to be hitting his front line. So I want to continue to move back so I annihilate his front line, and when they're down enough, then I can charge in and try to take out his shellers. That's the game plan. Now, as these units are moving back, you see I've kind of microing these units called vanguards.
Yes.
Vanguards up forward, you get up close and personal because they do a lot of damage. And it's helpful to do that. A lot of people will take their entire force and move it back and forth. But, if you can do a little bit of micro, have a little bit of hotkeys set up for different unit groups, you can move ahead, because he has a much, much nicer force than me here than I have defending it. He sees those coming in. And, the thing about shellers, one of the things that's interesting is when they get close to somebody else's base, they auto-target the buildings, the structures, instead of the units. So you can use that to your advantage a little bit. You never really want to be fighting, at home. You just don't want to be doing that. But if you do, remember that the shellers will target the structures. Okay. Now I'm pushing him back. Let's go back and look at this battle down here.
So I had a game plan here. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted to. I already had the units over there where I had taken out green. I had been scouting Blur. I couldn't quite get to his commander very easily since I did not go air. I was hoping to build a gate a little closer to him and take my forces in. You can see I'm scouting on the left over there. Ate a few of his tier 2 engineers, and I also noticed he was building quite a long line of turrets up top.
That is a lot of units he has.
And I knew that was a lot to try to go through from where I was, and I should have stayed and protected myself, and instead I spread myself too thin.
Yep. So your game plan, if I remember correctly, let's pause this, we'll fast forward and get back there. But your game plan, if I remember correctly, was to flank him and try to snipe his commander.
Yes, and I also have a gate in the terrain that I was protecting.
Okay.
Up top.
There's a gate right here.
And I was sending units to the left right here to also build a gate.
So a gate here so you could flank from both sides.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I knew exactly where his commander was. I knew I just didn't want to go through the front line.
So you're hoping that when his army is out of place,
yes,
that you're going to be able to go kill his commander one side or the other.
Yes.
And end his reign.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and that's that is definitely a strategy that could be used. That definitely is. In the situation here, you had two ways to go. That way, another way you could have gone was to group all your units together, take advantage of the terrain, and that he has to go through narrow area, and sort of lead him all the way back to your base, shelling him along the way. Since his army is much, much larger than yours. Let's go ahead and get it so we can see that. Since his army is much larger than yours, when he gets about right here, okay, his shellers are going to be in the back line. And that's going to allow you the entire way home to be shelling him and sniping him before he gets to your base. Plus, he's got to go through this heavy forest, which is also going to give you a little bit of protection. So that is another way. I don't know which way would have been better. It would have to been played out both ways to see which way would be better. And, we don't know what Blur's going to do in that situation either.
Right.
So it's hard to say.
You see things going through the gate up top.
Yep. Well, that is a very large force he has. Okay, so here it is. You're doing your attack. Yeah, these units are not long for this world, that's for sure.
No.
They should probably be being pulled back, these units, as well. Speed this up.
I do pull some back, as you can see.
Yep.
Little too late. And my gate is just getting ready to go up on the left, and that's also a little late.
Right here?
Yes.
Yep. Tier 1 fabricators build gates so slow.
I didn't have any Tier 2 air.
You're still doing pretty good damage here because of the terrain. He can't shoot across to you, but you can shoot across to him with your snipers. Once now he's got it figured out.
He's getting me from the other side.
Yeah, he had a lot more units than you. That's what it really would have boiled down to. So the flank is not going to work, and getting as many units back as you can to rescue them would be definitely a benefit to your base, because you now are completely exposed at home.
I am, and there's something else I forgot to build up near my commander.
Since we can see air, I'm guessing it's anti-air.
Yes.
Yep. So let's see here. We know that that's going to be dead.
I don't have a single piece of flak or Tier 1 anti-air turrets.
So you're...
Wait, there's one. I see one.
One flak. So you're in a desperate situation here. And your desperate situation, you decided to go through the gate and try to snipe him. So I just saw a whole bunch of you just going through that. I'm guessing this is your second gate. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're
Just
also dealing with some terrain as well.
Yes.
Directing these units around this way might have put more force toward him to find his commander.
Well,
we know his commander's down here, but you don't know that at this point in time.
Right. I was really worried he'd see me before I could get the gate done. I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah, he should have seen you. He definitely should have had radar to be able to see that, unless he was low on power. And yeah, you're in a very bad situation at home, because he's got Tier 2 air there. Those gunships are going to make short work of your commander. Absolutely.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Gangrel.
Oh.
And maybe next time. Now, let me get back to the other battle at hand. We're down to 3. I'm going to rewind this 1 minute, because a lot has taken place in that amount of time, as it often does in free-for-alls. Now, as you can see, Kiwi has definitely fortified this position, as I thought he would. And we're battling again. And, keep in mind, I rewinded it just a little bit. So Blur and Game Girl fighting right now. So there's 4 players in the game. So this is perfect time for Kiwi and I to do battle, right?
And now there's 3.
Now there's 3. So now there's 3 players. That changes the dynamic completely.
So you just took out that umbrella with your... was that boom bots?
Yeah, I'm launching through my unit cannon boom bots onto his back row. Watch this. To try to take out his shellers. A lot of people use
Slammers.
Slammers, and I like using slammers too. But if you launch slammers in the back of an army, they're going to die, and they are. Oh, that's a very nice attack by Kiwi, by the way. I am not prepared for that at all. My Air Force is over here resting, and he comes in and cleans up my entire ground force. That was a real expensive army, so he could do a counterattack here. That's very, very nice. But anyway, what I was saying was, if you were to launch slammers in the back, you would kill about the same amount of units as you did if you were to launch boom bots. However, the time it takes to make the slammers is much higher, and the cost is much higher. So, in my opinion, in a situation if you're going to try to flank an army, if you can land boom bots on top of their army, much better situation.
Yes.
Now I want you to listen here. What do you hear?
An eerie silence.
This is an eerie silence. There's 3 players left in the game. Game Girl just got taken out. This war right here, as you saw when it happened, we quickly divided. This is a situation where we have to strategize. We definitely have to strategize. Kiwi and I are in a temporizing situation here. Neither one of us benefits now from attacking the other player. We're fairly even, so 2 bases, 2 bases. We have very similar armoring complement. He does have more bombers than me, more air, but I do have quite a bit of anti-air, so that's not going to help him except for on the battlefield, right? And now Blur, on the other side of the map,
the entire other side of the map,
has the entire other side of the map because he just removed a player. So in this situation, strategically, I no longer want to war with Kiwi. He is not the threat to me as far as the end of winning this game. He just isn't anymore. So I reached out to Kiwi, as I would with any player in the situation where we have a kind of a deadlock, and made a kind of a pact that, hey, let's go ahead and see what Blur's doing before we decide what's going on. And he agrees, so that's what we do. And let's go ahead and take before I play. We'll go hit play. We'll speed it up because it's really fast, and let's take a look at this. So Killer Kiwi is at 700 547 and 550. So, he's definitely in the lead, but we're all up there. Army size, BA factor 390, 400, Blur 400, and Kiwi a little bit ahead, 500 also. Now, that lead may look like it might have been a bad decision for him to accept, but it certainly was not. He does not have enough units to crack this base. Now, in the time that that transpires between when the next war happens, what I'm thinking is eliminating some of Blur's advantage on that side of the world. So I am looking to get a third expansion for myself or prevent him from having a third expansion.
While eating his mechs, I see.
While eating his mechs. And Kiwi, because you can see, is doing the same thing. He's getting a third expansion and eliminating Blur from getting, this is your old base, is it not?
Yes.
Now, Kiwi has outplayed me in this game so far. He's been ahead of me in resources. He's been ahead of me in army in all situations, and he also just made a better choice than me. When we made that pact, his units were already in move to make this, so therefore I cannot move in because we have a pact, and this is a much better base for him than mine is, because look at this. He has 2 close bases, okay? 2 close bases to me, whereas on my side, I have 1 close base and 1 really far base that's close to Blur. So, this is going to be more difficult to hold, and I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm in the middle of my resources and my 2 foes. And this also gives Kiwi the time to really fortify his second base. So that's where we're at. And Blur was not all too happy with that chat about deciding to...
No, he wasn't.
He was not happy. I am sorry, Blur. When I play these games, it's nothing personal. I always think ahead as to what's advantageous to win the entire game. That is my thinking process. So he decided not to reach out. I guess the decision for us to pack it did work. It was the right choice at that time because we did secure more space. We prevented him from taking over half the world, and as you can see, but he's not really reaching out and stopping us, is he? He's a little bit, but not really. So let me rewind here just a second. This is while I was doing all that talking, the game was on fast forward and many minutes transpired. In the actual game, it was a very slow time because we're now experiencing quite a bit of lag. Now, at that time, once we eaten up the other 2 expansions, Kiwi to his close expansion, BA Factor his close expansion, and Blur has boomed. He stayed home. He has stayed in his area and just made troops to prepare for what he thought was going to be a 2v1. I have reanalyzed my situation. Looking at Kiwi being here and knowing Kiwi to be an exceptional player, I feel like he is now the bigger threat. I feel like in that last, 6 minutes that took place or 4 minutes that took place, I feel like he has the edge now. So, and I would not do this for a lot of players. I would not let them know that the pact is over. I would simply just go attack them when they least expected it. But there are a few players out there, Kiwi being one of them, Corgi being another one, that I will let them know that, hey, our pact is over. It's time to get back to war because you are now the bigger threat. I'd let him know that. Blur was probably very excited to see that chat take place.
Yes.
And I'm putting my war machine in motion. And what I'm attempting to do here, I have some air here to guard my docks from being bombered because bombers will disintegrate them, right? So my goal here is to take these docks over in kind of a suicide mission to take out his resources. That's all I care to do. If I can take out 5 Tier 2 mechs with these docks, I'll be very happy. My second plan is to build a Hulkins up top. This Hulkins will take out his second base. Each time it fires a shot, 1 mech is going to be gone. And I'm not going to have to do, and this is something that you players should take note of. What he sees is nothing. He does not see an army over here. He does not see a threat. He does not really answer it. This investment is going to pay tenfold because every time he takes out a Tier 2, Tier 1 mech combo, I'm gaining resource gain on top of Kiwi. And that's what I need. And I'm going to keep my main force on the battlefield so that we can do battle on even ground. That's what I'm going to do. I am a little concerned. I feel like, like I said in the very beginning of this, that Blur and I have been on streaks, and I've been on ahead of Blur. I've been taking him out a lot lately, so I feel like Blur has it in for me. I feel like I am going to be the object of Blur's obsession, is what I feel like. So I'm a little bit worried about this, but that's why I need to go ahead and I needed to make the decision, not wait for something else to happen in the game. I needed to make the decision to try to take Kiwi out when I have a chance with a very large force, so that's what I'm going to do.
Plus, he already took out me, so he's probably feeling pretty confident to come in on you.
Yes.
He's just been amassing units.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's stage 1 of that attack. Take out his resources. His army, I guess, was in place for Blur. That helped me out. So that's taken place. I've taken out quite a bit of mechs there. I threw a couple boom bots over here thinking I would be able to kill a few units. I didn't know what all of this was at the time. I'm going to go ahead and retreat some. If I can save it, I can. I will. Okay, and let's see. Yep, 2 of these cannons up. You can see that they're doing their job. Mexes are disappearing. That's exactly what I want to happen. You know what? I apologize for this, audience. I'm going to have to rewind back before the battle. I want to show one more thing. This is something I did not know in game. This is something after I watched the replay after the game in the chrono that I figured out. I wanted to see if I made the right choice. If I did, I make the right call. And here is where we were at. When I made the call to go attack Kiwi, here's where we're at. Blur 500, Killer Kiwi 1500.
Wow.
B8 factor 1000. He is the accumulation of both of our resources. Let's look at the units. So B8 factor 1100 units, Blur 1000 units, and Killer Kiwi 1800 units. So when I watched this is what I was looking forward to watch in the chrono cam. I made the right decision.
Yes.
To win the war, I needed to act, and I needed to act at that point in time. So I definitely made the right decision. So we'll go ahead and put it back to where it was, and we'll go there. And now that those 2 attacks have happened, we'll see that he still has a lead, but his resource lead is not nearly the same now. We're on even ground, so much better situation. And I'm going to go ahead and move in on him. I'm feeling like, it's going to be a bloody battle. Kiwi decided to come in and test the waters here, so he reached in there to install that it had plenty of anti-air. So he may have been attempting to bomber snipe. I see that he has a lot of bombers set aside. I'm sure that might have been his goal. Yeah, he has a lot of bombers set aside. Wow, that is a lot of bombers. That was a pretty wise choice on his part. And he went defensive in the process. You can see he's made a lot of shellers to hold off an incoming battle. Let's see this. Okay, I like this. So he probably knows he can't reach my commander. So instead, he's doing to me what I did to him. He's taking my resources. Very, very, very smart move. Now, here, I get lucky.
Aww.
I have no idea why Blur. It looks like he decided to attack us both at the same time. He's moving his army in against me, his land army, and he moved his air force against Kiwi. Now, it just so happened that Kiwi had moved his forces down to my expansion, all his air force, so he was out of place. And maybe Blur saw that. If he did, then kudos to him for making the right call. He chose to take out Kiwi. That, for me, was lucky. That was very lucky for me.
Because Kiwi had a lot of hummingbirds.
He did. He could have stopped it, and he was set up. He was basically countering my attack on his resources. So he was setting up, and Blur. I'm surprised. This is something that's interesting. When you're fighting deep in enemy territory, you have to plunder to survive. On the way over here, he should have taken out all my resources on the way. There was no reason not to. There's just no reason not to. He knows they're there. He should have taken them out. You need to plunder the other person's resources on the way over there, because an army that's deep in enemy territory is not likely to survive. Therefore, plunder what you can on the way in case you have an unsuccessful mission. That's what needs to happen, and he didn't do that. So that works against him. Very sorry, Kiwi. You outplayed me in this game completely, and you got a little unlucky there. I was really wanting to see what happened in this battle. I really was. I wanted to see if I could penetrate all the way through his base there. So
Does Blur have a gate up there?
Blur does have a gate. It's way back here. And he's moving his forces in. It looks like he's going to set up siege on this side. I have a narrow passageway. What we said earlier about narrow passageways, they're easy to defend. So I'm going to work on a strategy to deal with him. You can see here that I have a nuke almost done. I oftentimes use nukes in defensive. What I'll do is set an attack on another player, and then I will nuke their force coming in to nullify their attack on me. I do that quite a bit. trying to set a few mines as fast as I can and then pull these guys out of here. I'm going to get my vanguards on the front line to cover that. And he sits here for a while. I'm not really sure what his strategy was, but he definitely sits there for a while. I'm glad that he did, because I have 2 Hulkins that are just annihilating units as he does so. Now, I had sent out some fabricators, some combat fabricators. They've been eating resources all around the map the entire game. Another big benefit of these guys, they're kind of like little spies. They can get deep in here and build a gate in no time flat. No time flat. And let's see, does he see this? 'Cause I'm a little concerned. Yeah, he sees this. I'm not sure if he's not paying attention. Now, audience, this isn't really... I'm not saying something bad about Blur. This game went on for, almost an hour of game time. So this is like an hour and 40 minutes of actual play time. This was an incredibly long, stressful, and very laggy game. So who knows what might be going through his head. Some players... this isn't real war. This isn't the real world. So some players have just given up and they want to move through it. Not saying that's what's happening with Blur.
He may be focused on his army right at the top of yours as well.
Yep, he may be.
Have it flipped all the way around, focusing on that.
Yep, it looks like he had to bring his siege in because he can't penetrate completely with that. He wants to have a siege in, so maybe that's what he was doing. Who knows? Who knows?
That's why I like to use the picture, the pip at the bottom, so I can keep track of what's going on in the main base while I'm close-up focused on what I'm doing on the other side of the world.
Very good call. Very good call. So I'm setting up shop here to deal with this. And let's speed this up. I don't know why it slowed back down. We'll see this this nuke take place, and as quickly as I can. And I'm building 2 gates down here. I went ahead and built the gates and didn't take units through yet. I was a little concerned with this force. I wanted to make sure I took care of it first. I also want to make sure he wasn't going to see that and just go and annihilate it with a nuke or something like that himself. So, army dead. Nothing to be worried about. Split my forces. I want to keep a group home in case there is a counterattack. And
like I should have done.
Yep, it's definitely a good idea to do that. And take enough of the units that I think will be good. And taking them in 2 gates is going to do a far better job of getting them all there faster and being able to hit a harder punch. I don't know why he didn't take this air. I guess this is his desperate time. He had the air. He could have gone and mowed down those gates, but instead he chose to come and snipe me, it looks like.
Well, I have done that successfully before. I've gotten the commander just before they killed me.
Yes. I built an Astraeus, and I want to pick my commander up to keep him from getting sniped, but as you can see, I'm too late. I cannot get to him in time because if he's in the Astraeus, he will die.
You have a lot of flak.
And it's not only flak that I have. You notice that all these bombers are dying way back here. It used to be whenever bomber snipes were really, really common that people build a ton of flak. Flak's quite expensive to build. People underestimate the power of the regular, Galata turret, the normal anti-air turret, since they've changed in the last build to target bombers first. Then as they pass through all that, it's popping bombers one shot at a time, which is a very, very good situation. So yeah, he's in a tough situation right now. He's already used most of his bombers. I have enough spinners in here to combat, what he can produce there, and the majority of his force is spinners, so it's not going to be very hard to push through here.
I don't think I saw the rest of this battle.
If I do that, I'll let you know that I'm also coming from the top. Since I felt like I was in a good situation, I went ahead and brought the rest of my force to make sure he couldn't escape, and sent my next nuke over to take out his air. I wanted to secure the deal as quickly as I could. It had already been a long game, and it was time to win. Yes. That is it. I think I'm going to title this game Large Armies, Loose Alliances, and a Lot of Luck.
I like that.
Yes, because that's exactly what happened. Kiwi outplayed me. Multiple situations, better econ, better unit groups, better attacks. I had some good attacks too. I'd say they were probably even on the attacks. Better choice of expansion. Yeah, he definitely outplayed me and got a little unlucky that he was the obsession of Blur. If Blur had came at me, and I think that it was the correct choice for Blur because Kiwi was the bigger threat. I just felt like he would have targeted me because of past games, but it worked out. So anyway, that's our free-for-all. There's a lot of interesting stuff that happened in this one. Sorry, it's a very long one, but I wanted to cover some of these interesting things. And that's it. So this is BA Factor.
and Game Girl.
Signing out.
Hope to see you in the lobby.